Thanks for joining me today for our webinar, AI for Educators. We are going to learn some actionable strategies today that you will be able to take away, take back into your classroom, and it's going to save you a ton of time and energy. You know, we need all the help we can get as teachers in terms of saving time and energy. So, you've probably heard this. AI is going to cause so many problems in the classroom. I hear teachers saying that all the time now. Well, it's not going to be completely free of problems. Everything that kids can use to cause problems and chaos, they're gonna find ways. But we are going to look at some ways today that we can leverage AI to actually make our jobs as teachers easier. So first, the elephant in the room. Won't my students use AI to cheat? And the answer is yes, they will try. They are clever, but you are clever. So one of the ways that we can use to determine if the students are using AI to write their papers and to cheat are these AI content detectors. I personally tested both of these using my own writing and asking ChatGPT to create stories and pieces that have similar content. CopyLeaks was able to detect narratives written by ChatGPT nearly 100% of the time, while identifying my writing as having a 99% likelihood that it was written by a human. So when you use these AI detectors, they're never going to conclusively tell you whether it was written by an AI or a human, because there's really no way to be absolutely certain. It's going to give you a percent likelihood that it's written by a human. If you're doing narratives or any kind of stories or fiction pieces, CopyLeaks is the way to go. CopyLeaks is very, very good at telling whether a narrative was written by a human or a bot. It's not as good at detecting academic writing or essays and research papers. For those, I recommend aiwritingcheck.org. And it's a .org. So both of these are totally free. You can use them hundreds of thousands of times. They'll never charge you. It's great. I checked AI writing with some essays that I had written previously as example essays for my students. It was able to say it was a very, very high likelihood that it was written by a human. I also did some marketing copy, some explanation of concepts, and this one worked really well for all of those more technical pieces of writing. So teachers need all the help they can get right now. Harnessing the power of AI can and will make our lives easier. So we're going to examine a number of different ways now that it can save you that precious time and effort. One of the key ways is finding resources. ChatGPT and other AI models can easily scour the entire internet in seconds to find articles and resources for just about any lesson. So a sample prompt that you could be able to use would be, find me 3 articles on sustainable agriculture appropriate for high school students. And appropriate for high school students is key, because these chatbots understand that you talk to different audiences in different ways. You would not talk to a 5th grader the same way you would a senior in high school. So when you are asking it to write anything or find resources, giving it your target audience is an important part of communicating with that AI. That way you will get results that are appropriate for high school students and not children's books about sustainable agriculture or highly scientific papers written by people with PhDs in horticulture. You can also give it parameters like only pull from medical journals, only pull from scientific journals. So in that case, you would say, find me 3 articles on sustainable agriculture from scientific journals appropriate for high school students, and it will do that. AIs are actually really good, some of them, not all of them probably, but I tried ChatGPT for this particular element and providing feedback. So as teachers, sometimes it's nearly impossible to keep up with all the feedback we should be giving our students. I was always told that to give feedback on every single thing the student turns in, and that takes a tremendous amount of time, as you know. So if they have work that they're turning in electronically that you can copy and paste into ChatGPT, it can edit their grammar, provide tips for improving their writing, and grade their work. The grammar editor can also explain the grammatical errors that students are making. So you can paste the paper into ChatGPT and say, please edit the following for grammar, and it will spit out the paper with the grammar corrected. Or can you please identify the grammatical errors in this paper? And it will do that as well. It will also provide tips for improvement. So you can do the same thing, paste in the paper, and simply type, can you please provide me with some tips to improve this writing selection? And it will do that. Along that same vein, it will also grade the work. Now, ChatGPT obviously can't analyze a rubric and make sure that the student has followed directions, but it will assign what it believes is the best letter grade to an essay. If you're talking to about science problems, questions like that, it will tell you if the answers are correct or not. Using AI to create examples for students. Learned AI is one we're going to talk about here in a minute, but it and ChatGPT are both very, very efficient writers, meaning they can write way, 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 way faster than you and I can. And they can do it on a pretty acceptable level. So if you're looking to teach students a new topic or examine quality writing samples, AI makes them easy to create and customize in minutes. So I know I've talked about a lot about how this would look in the English classroom, but if you are a science teacher and you want to explain what mitochondria does, what you can do is use ChatGPT to create a reading sample for the students that tells them exactly what you want them to learn about mitochondria. So the more specifically you put in the prompt, the more it will adhere to your guidelines and give you a selection that's really and truly exactly what you're looking for. AI can answer questions for your students. Now, obviously, AI can't answer questions about assignment directions or the ever-present, Miss, can I go to the bathroom? But it can explain concepts in pretty simple terms to students. ChatGPT is particularly good at explaining complex concepts as well as explaining multi-step math problems. So if you're a math teacher and let's say you're teaching algebraic equations, ChatGPT, if you ask it to, will break down those equations into steps and explain each of those steps to the students. So if you are willing to let kids use this in the classroom, you could say, hey, first, before you come ask me, why don't you try to use AI to figure out this process on your own, which will give them experience using this technology as well as get explanations to their questions. So Learned AI is a very, very powerful tool that was developed specifically for educators. These are just some of the things that this program can do. It can create assessments, so tests, questions. It can create rubrics for you. I used to hate making rubrics. That was one of my least favorite things to do in education. So you can tell Learned AI about the project you're doing and say, please create a rubric for me. These two are kind of similar. They can come up with debate and essay topics or discussion questions for you. So if you are an English teacher and you want to assign a paper, but you don't know, you don't have a prompt in mind, or you can't think of anything, you can tell it the parameters and it will create an essay or debate topic for you. Same with discussion question. If you want to have a class discussion, it can be on a specific book, it can be on a specific topic. It can do discussion questions about books, scientific topics, math topics, ethics topics. Sky is the limit. It can create multiple choice questions. This is particularly useful, I think, in math and science, because if it doesn't change, it's not open to interpretation. So you could say, come up with 10 questions about mitochondrial DNA, and it will do that for you. It can proofread, just like ChatGPT, probably a little bit better since this is specifically created for educators. Another neat thing it can do is write blurbs. So if you have a really, really long paper or a journal article, or even maybe a short story that you want to come up with a succinct way to describe, you can paste that content into Learn AI and it will spit out a blurb similar to one you might find, say, on the inside of a book jacket. It'll give you a couple sentences about what that very long-winded article is about. And I saved the coolest thing that Learned AI can do for this. It can write your lesson plans for you. And I was thoroughly impressed with how well this works. It can take your lesson plans from a horrible chore to something that you can do in minutes. And it even gives you different options which you can use for differentiated instructions. So Learned AI is a platform for educators that can create lesson plans for you simply by inputting the topic, learner age, and lesson duration. Those are the only things that it asks for. When you're talking about the lesson topic, you can be as detailed or as general as you want. So once you've input these 3 specific pieces of information, it takes a minute or so, but it will give you multiple options of lessons that each contain a lesson title, grade level, objective, materials, introduction, direct instruction, guided practice, assessment, and closure. So if all you know as a teacher is, okay, I want to teach my 5th graders how to do fractions, you can put that information into Learn AI and it will give you a really amazing, very detailed lesson plan on how to teach them fractions. And I am going to show you that right now. So there's a different screen here. So this is Learned AI. And Learned AI is free-ish. It works on a credit system. So everything you do costs you some credits. I think I got like 20,000 credits when I signed up for free. And I've used 30,000. And it's obviously not a one task, one credit system because I have not done 30,000 things. So here are just all of the things you can do. So I would encourage you after this, after you're done watching this, to go out and kind of just see what it can do. See, play with it. Maybe you take a couple of beer lessons and see how it can help you. But I want to show you the lesson plans because it's truly amazing. So I want to say subtracting fractions. My learner age is 11. Lesson duration, 50 minutes. So down here, it asks you the number of options. So this is how many lesson plans, how many different lesson plans it's going to show you. So obviously, the fewer options you select, the more tokens it's going to charge you. But let's say we want to do 3 options and we're going to generate. As you see, it does take just a second here. Going to get those good things that come to people who wait. So we're just going to take a second. As I really wanted to show you how this works, how well it works, highlight some key things, and show you also what you can really expect when you're actually doing this. And since this is such a powerful tool, and I think we can all agree that anything to make educators' lives easier, anything to save us work, time, and effort is a great thing. So if you want to use this, if you like it, you can encourage your district to pay for it for the teachers. And I would highly encourage you to start having those conversations as soon as possible. Say, hey, this is great. We want it. We want free access to it because it can make your life easier and it can truly make administrators' lives easier too. So here we have a lesson plan, subtracting fractions, your learning objectives, your assessment, engagement. It even tells you, it even goes as far as to tell you what to say. It says the teacher will start the lesson with a real world problem that involves subtracting fractions, such as if I have 3/4 of pizza and eat 1/3 of it, how much pizza do I have left? So, and it tells you here it tells you the materials that you'll need, resources and instructional steps. This one is a little bit different. It breaks it down a little bit more. So you have your objective, your materials, introduction, direct instruction, guided practice, formative assessment, closure, and then extensions. So the extensions is where you're going to find your differentiation. So it says for students who need an additional challenge, have them solve word problems, and then for additional support, provide fraction manipulatives or visuals. So, and it asks you to rate the lesson plans, because if we as teachers continue to give it feedback, they're going to continue to give you better and better and better quality output. So I'm going to rate that one. It's really good. These two are just really similar. So give it a try. Play with Learned AI, see what it can do, and see how it can help you. And I don't work for them. I don't get any incentives from them. I just think that Learned AI is a really cool, really powerful program that can help us be more efficient and better educators and save you time on the stuff that, that's not fun to do. Because I don't think any of us have ever sat in front of our computer and thought, yes, it's time to write lesson plans. I'm so excited. I look forward to this every week, because we know you don't. Using AI will be an essential job skill in the near future. And it is our responsibility as educators to teach kids how to use it responsibly. They're going to use it. They're going to experiment with it. They're going to try to get away with stuff. And if you know how to use it and you can teach them how to use it, you can build their skills and teach them how to do it responsibly and ethically. Prompt engineering. So what is prompt engineering? Prompt engineering is the science of creating input for AI to get the best output. Essentially, it's learning how to communicate with the software. Communicating with AI will become as important as the ability to use Google or search a website in the near future. It is not going away. It is getting more and more powerful and more skilled every single day. The speed with which they're improving and innovating this is mind-blowing. So prompt engineering is a skill just like any other skill. It takes practice. There are hundreds of videos online that you can watch to just kind of teach you the basics so you can get started. But becoming an expert will simply involve continuing to practice with it. So by practicing the prompts, you'll get better and better at it. You can also try it multiple times and ask in multiple different ways. So let's say you put a prompt in and you get output that you're not satisfied with, or it's missing some sort of element. You can always, for the next message, especially on ChatGPT, it's really easy. You can rephrase the question, or you can give it additional parameters and ask the question again. Say, can you include X in the above response? And it will give you another response that's now incorporated that additional thing that you've asked for. So this is a fun thing that you can do in the classroom, is generate an AI art image, which that's simply you typing exactly what you want in text format. And then the AI art generator will create an image based on what you typed. So think for a minute about what I might have typed to get this image here from my AI art generator. Anybody have any ideas? So this prompt was create an illustration for a children's book of a little strawberry blonde girl playing with blocks. So on the one hand, yes, the hair color is what I had envisioned, but it misinterpreted what I wanted when I said strawberry. And as you can see, has littered this area with strawberries. So to change this image to make it one that was more in line with what I was looking for, what you have to do at this point is find another way to get the hair color that you want without the strawberries appearing. So you can certainly use AI and you can teach it and use it to add fun to your classroom. So you can come up with, this is a scavenger hunt where you essentially come up with a list of questions and you give different teams the same questions. You can say, hey, okay, this team has to use Chat GPT, this team has to use Bard. You can manipulate it in any way you want, but you have them asking questions to these chatbots and comparing what they say at the end when you're done with the scavenger hunt. So as always, when you're talking about kids, set a timer so that when it's over, they're done and they have to share their responses. So at this point, you can highlight the funniest or most interesting responses they received from their chatbots. This activity not only teaches students how to use chatbots, but encourages collaboration, problem solving, creativity, and critical thinking skills. You can also try to get them to come up with a way to get the chatbot to say something that is incorrect. So you could have a competition and you say, okay, first team that can come up with a way to get Chat GPT to say something that's wrong wins a prize. And that will not only illustrate and help them with the prompt engineering side of it, but it also really highlights the fact that there are limitations to the answers that you're going to get from any AI. They're not human. They're not going to say things that are 100% correct all of the time. So we need to emphasize that in our classrooms so that kids don't just blindly believe everything that they're reading from these chatbots, because they have biases, they have incorrect information. The way that they aggregate a lot of this information is by rapidly searching the internet. And as you know, there's a lot of things on the internet that are simply not right. So if the input that these bots are getting has incorrect information, they're going to spit it back out to you and present it as if it were fact. So we have to let the kids practice with it and develop their critical thinking skills so that when it comes time for them to get answers from these chatbots, they can determine whether or not that information is trustworthy and whether or not it might contain some bias. Well, all AI is not created equal. So I used 3 AI image generators to create me a picture of a banjo playing corgi wearing a top hat. So as you can see, we have 3 pretty different images here. This first one is very artful, very attractive. Not sure why there's 2 top hats here, but if you wanted to use this image, it would be relatively easy to edit that out. But I think this one looks pretty good. It's pretty nice. This one, not so much. I think this is one that they kind of drew on the fly. Obviously, that is not the greatest picture I have ever seen, nor was it particularly skillfully drawn. And then this one looks more like a photograph that they have photoshopped different pieces together. So obviously these hands are not corgi hands. What it looks like they did is simply take a picture of a person that was playing the banjo, stick a Photoshop Courtney hat on it and then put a top hat on top of it. So I do want to point out that one of these images is from a service that I pay for. So just like the token system with Learn AI, these work on token, many of the art images work on token systems as well. So you buy a bunch of tokens and every time you get output, they take some of your tokens away. So this is the one that I pay for. This is Photor AI. So I tried the free, they give you some credits for free to try it out. And if you like it, you can buy some more credits. So I liked the free ones that I got. I'm trying to use it presently to illustrate a children's book. So I decided that I wanted, for consistency's sake, all the images to come from the same art generator. So I went ahead and purchased some credits, and it's doing a pretty nice job. So. Questions, comments, or tips of your own that you would like to add?